Today we're going to take a look at every single themed comic book published during the 1930s in the standard new comic book format, and any books that are close to that format. It all starts in 1934 with a epic historical book, Skippy's Own Book of Comics, a 48-page giveaway book put out by MC Gaines. That same year, we would find a special Popeye cartoon book released with only 40 pages, a little bit oversized. Things wouldn't really pick up in the single theme or single character books until 1937, when things really started to pick up. Don Winslow of the Navy got his own issue, and it was even followed up with a second issue. This is the first time that a character had received their own single theme 2 issues in a row and actually numbered. A very important series debuted that year called Feature Book. And Feature Book started off with a Dick Tracy one-shot, one of the most popular comic strip characters at the time, and also with a Popeye and the Jeep one-shot. After that, Feature Comic would get a regular numbered series, and Feature Book number 1 features Zane Grey's King of the Royal Mounted. Feature Book number 2 brought the return of Popeye. This was now Popeye's third single-themed comic book, and he even appeared in Feature Book number 3 along with the Jeep again. So based on this, it would seem that publishers felt that Popeye was maybe the most popular character or the safest one to market on his own. So that's 4 Popeye issues already at this point. Feature Book number 4 featured Dick Tracy, which was the return of that character, so that's 2 Dick Tracy books. And then Feature Book and his Papa, number 5. This is the 5th Popeye book. And then Dick Tracy came back in Feature Book number 6 for his 3rd solo appearance. Feature Book 7 featured the classic Little Orphan Annie, one of the best-selling titles of the past decade. And Feature Book 8 featured Secret Agent X9. As 1938 came, Disney was having huge success with their movies. There was a monthly Mickey Mouse magazine which featured many assorted Disney characters, but a Donald Duck one-shot was released in 1938 featuring nothing but Donald Duck strips. Also in 1938, a new series from United Features debuted called Single Series. This would be a monthly series, and the number 1 issue featured The Captain and the Kids, a very popular newspaper comic strip. Feature Book continued in 1938. Issue number 9 brought back Dick Tracy once again, and Feature Book number 10 featured Popeye and Susan. Little Annie Rooney was the feature of Feature Book number 11, and Blondie got a showcase in Feature Book number 12. A title that's not too popular these days got a feature in Feature Book 13, Inspector Wade. Popeye, popular as ever, was back in Feature Book number 14. And the aerial adventures strip Barney Baxter in the Air was featured in Feature Book number 15. An Indian and Western theme was featured for the first time in Feature Book number 16, featuring Red Eagle. Feature Book 17 featured Gangbusters, a popular radio serial at the time. Feature Book 18 featured the very popular Mandrake the Magician from writer Lee Falk. And Mandrake the Magician also appeared in the next issue, Feature Book 19. Only Popeye had been seen in consecutive issues of this title so far. And The Phantom finally got his own solo book in Feature Book number 20. Feature Book 21 gave us The Lone Ranger in his first solo book. As 1939 hit, we got a lot more one-shots, and we'll get to a few surprises and special books coming up. Captain Easy appeared in a one-shot. And one of the most important comic book series of all time debuted in 1939, a series unofficially called 4-Color Comics. It would run longer than any other title in American comic book history, running over 1,300 issues. Well, 4-Color #1 debuted in 1939, featuring the ever-popular Dick Tracy. 4-Color Comics #2 came out shortly after and brought us back Don Winslow of the Navy, who had already been seen 2 years earlier in his own series. And 4-Color Comics #3 featured the female hero Myra North, Special Nurse. Another new series was debuted, one called Large Feature Comic. And the #1 issue, again, brought us Dick Tracy. Large Feature Comic #2 gave us the popular Terry and the Pirates from Milton Caniff. And Large Feature Comic #3 brought us the Lone Ranger once again in Hi-Yo Silver. That's the second Lone Ranger single-themed issue so far. Large Feature #4 brought us back Dick Tracy. And Tarzan finally got his own one-shot single-themed title in the comic book size format in Large Feature Comic #5. Large Feature Comic #6 brought back Terry and the Pirates from Milt Caniff, and the Lone Ranger was back again in Large Feature Comic #7 in another Hi-Yo Silver title. Large Feature Comics #8 was once again Dick Tracy. The final issue of feature book that came out in the 1930s featured the Phantom. This was the Phantom's second single solo themed book. DC Comics, not yet called DC, but we're going to use that term as everybody knows who we're talking about, got the licensing for Mutt and Jeff starting in 1939, and the book started out as just a one-shot and then became an annual and then got regular publishing as it proved its popularity. Of Mutt and Jeff from creator Bud Fisher. The Lone Ranger got his own one-shot in his own title, in fact, and this is a one-shot, very popular book. The first, some consider this the first Western-themed book, though this is not the first Lone Ranger single-themed issue, as we've already seen here today. Single series continued through 1939 with #2 featuring Bronco Bill. There's another Western-themed book. Ella Cinders was featured in #3. Al Cap gave us his very popular Little Abner in single series #4. And the fun Fritzy Ritz appeared in single series #5. Jim Hardy was featured in single series #6. Frankie Doodle appeared in single series #7. Peter Pat in issue #8. Strange as It Seems by John Hicks in issue #9. And we should note that there were a few Strange as It Seems one-shots that also came out in the 1930s. Single series #10 features Little Mary Mix-Up. Mr. and Mrs. Bean, The Dog Tale, is in single series #11. And the fun Joe Jinks appeared in single series 12. Louie Dope appeared in single series 13. One of the most important single-themed books ever to be published and changed the marketing of comic books forever came out in the summer of 1939. It was Superman #1 from DC Comics. This was not only the first superhero single-themed character book or the first superhero single-title book, but it also actually became the best-selling comic book of the summer of 1939 and changed the way the comic book industry would focus their attention on superhero and science fiction related characters, and this will change things. And shortly after this, Superman #2 came back. It was a quarterly originally, and Superman #2 sales were so high that it actually was the best-selling comic book of the 1930s. And here it was, a single-themed character book and a superhero book. Superman number 1 had 3 printings, and Superman number 2 had 2 printings. Both massively important books released in 1939. We can see here how the popularity of Superman was outselling everything. But only Superman number 2 and Superman number 1 make the list of best-selling comics of the 1930s that are single theme or single character books. Here's a chart that shows us all 60 single-themed books that came out in the 1930s. Keep in mind, over 750 comics were published in America in the 1930s. That means that only about 8% of comics produced were single-themed titles or characters, showing the uniqueness of these books. And now, with this video, you have an access to the history of all 60 of them.